guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Classics Arrow. Bo finally gets his steed in the Masters of the Universe Classics lineup, so let's go ahead and check out our second horse. As you can see, Arrow comes in that larger window box packaging that is very familiar to what we saw with figures like Swiftwind before him. It's got that same kind of green brick motif, and if you flip it around to the backside, we not only get a look at some of the other figures that are in the Classics lineup, but below that we get both an image of the Arrow figure and a brand new bio. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at Arrow outside of the packaging. Now, if you did pick up Swiftwind in this line, you pretty much know what to expect as far as the design and the sculpt of the figure goes. But he does have a lot of new stuff going on as well that makes him stand apart from Swiftwind, so he's not just an exact replica of that figure like we saw with a lot of the horses in the vintage Princess of Power line. There's a lot of things going on with Arrow here that does make him different. But the sculpt of the horse is very nice. You can see great kind of muscles worked in there. You got all the little veins and everything running on the legs. So it's a really nice horse sculpt, just like we saw with Swiftwind before him. Now, one of the things you might notice is that the Filmation cartoon color scheme is what was chosen for this version of Arrow. In the vintage toy line, he was a baby blue in color. So now we've got him as kind of a tan, and he's got a lot of pink design elements in the saddle and all of the pieces that adorn him there. And then he's also got that really awesome kind of reddish-orange mohawk of a mane going down the back of his head. All of the design elements in the saddle and all of the pieces that he's wearing there are very nicely done. They actually do have a nice leather look to them in the sculpt, but then they're done in this bright pink color with some nice metallic pink kind of accentuating it all the way around. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a closer look at Arrow! So if you have Swiftwind, you pretty much know what to expect as far as articulation goes. Sculpt and basic design of this guy is the same, but let's go over here. You can see the head at the base of the neck on a nice ball joint, so it can roll the head around. You can move up, you can move down, you can even move it kind of side to side. Then you got another joint at the top of the neck, the base of the head there, so you can also swivel the head up and down. Really great movement there. The legs can move forwards and backwards. You can see good range of motion there. You can bend the horse at the knees. Very tight, kind of those ratchet joints, which is very nice. And you can have the double joint at the bottom of the knee, right before the hooves. And that works the same on both the back legs and the front legs. And luckily, we got these nice tight ratchet joints on all of the knee bends. So Arrow doesn't have any problem standing, and his legs don't give out on him. So as long as you get him posed with all of those legs kind of touching the ground in the proper way, he's going to have a nice sturdy base, which is very, very nice. And then, of course, the tail also can move side to side. Also bends forwards and backwards. You can hear those tight ratchet joints on that tail. That's crazy. But nice, because that way you don't have to worry about the tail falling down. You can pose that any way you want to on that. So, of course, he does have some softer pieces on there. You can see this piece here for the reins for the bow or any figure to hold on to. It's made of a softer kind of gummier plastic. You got the saddle on the back, which you could pop off. It's just like with Swiftwind. One of the other things that's different, though, is we got these cool little stirrups that are hanging down, which is pretty neat. But let's go ahead and put Bo on the horse, because there's something I do want to talk about. So we got Bo. Put him on the horse, and real quick, the saddle does have the notches in it for the ladies' skirts, so if you do want to put She-Ra or somebody on here, they'll still fit on this just like with Swiftwind. But obviously Bo doesn't have a skirt on, so that doesn't matter much for him, so we can just kind of get him posed on here. You can get him holding on to the nice little the reins there of the horse. You just got to kind of fit them into his hands and his grip there. Just like that. Now, this is kind of the thing. I like the stirrups, but you can see Bo sitting on the horse here. I feel like the stirrups are a bit too long, because on both sides here, look, Bo is fully sitting. He's fully on the saddle, and the stirrups are hanging down below his feet quite a bit. So in order to get the stirrups on his feet, you kind of have to bend them up. They do have room to squeeze a foot on the inside there, so you can put them on his feet. But since they're such soft plastic, and since they're a little too long, they don't really stay attached to his feet as much as I'd like them to. So that's a bit of a shame, because I really liked how the stirrups were on there, but you really kind of have to fiddle with the figure a little bit there just to get him posed with the stirrups and get him to stay on his feet. They're a little too loose. A little too long, really. Loose and long. The other thing that's really cool about this, one thing I do really like, the fact that Arrow does have his wings, but they put these cool little pieces on here that cover the holes for the wings. That was one of my complaints with Swiftwind, is that you really couldn't change Swiftwind into Spirit without having big gaping holes in the side where the wings were. So now we've got these pieces here, and they're removable. They're very hard to pull out, especially the first time. They're going to be locked in there pretty tight because these are very stiff, rigid pieces of plastic. But they cover up the holes there. So you can pop those out just like that, and then we can take the wings, which are just like the Swiftwind wings. They're just a different color this time around. You can pop those right in there just like that. Snaps in nice. You can then articulate the wings, forwards, backwards, and get them to flap. And then, if you want to, you can display Arrow with his wings. So now that we got the wings on there, he does have a very familiar look to Swiftwind, and it's got those very bright, very colorful wings on there, and you can pose those around however you see fit. And of course, they don't get in the way of having your rider on the back of the horse, so if you want to pose Bo on Arrow's back while he's got the wings like his vintage action figure, you're able to do that. One of the other things I actually really like about the articulation on this guy is you can actually get him rearing up, and the tail helps balance him, so you can have Bo on his back while the horse is rearing up in that pose, and you can get him to balance pretty well, and it makes for a really neat way to pose the horse on your shelf. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Let's go ahead and put this new Classics Arrow alongside the Vintage Arrow so you can see the big difference between the two. And of course, we've got to take a look at Arrow alongside Swiftwind so that you can see the similarities and the differences between the sculpts of these two horses. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the Masters of the Universe Classics Arrow. Honestly, I'm surprised it took so long for Mattel to give us a second horse. The vintage Princess of Power line gave us a ton of horses all using that same mold, and I thought we would have a lot more of them by now, to be perfectly honest. But I'm glad that Arrow was the next one that they gave us, because now we can complete that Bo and Arrow duo on our shelves. And personally, I am happy that they chose the Filmation color scheme here. I know that there are fans of the vintage Princess of Power line that probably would prefer him to be in that blue color, but doesn't mean we won't see him that way someday. I guess fingers crossed if that's the version that you're hoping for. Now, Arrow was the quarterly item released in November, and he has since sold out on MattyCollector.com. So if this is one that you're wanting to add to your collection, you're going to have to track him down at this point. So happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.
Oh.